What's up, college football fans? Noe Valente here once again with the Mean Green Show. Today, joined by a special guest in Craig Stutzmann, offensive coordinator for San Jose State. Before we get into all of what Coach Stutzmann has going on in the pipeline for this coming up season, before you guys already know the drill. If you're a fan of college football or G5 football, considering that like and subscribe button, because that is truly all that we talk about. Coach Stutzman, I appreciate your time. You guys are just getting moved in, and you're going a million miles per hour. So to work out the time, we really appreciate it. Before we get into any of your current roles, though, I want to ask you about your high school days and the powerhouse that you
hmm
came from in Honolulu and St. Louis, and just to name some of the marquee quarterbacks that came out of there. And Timmy Chang, Jeremiah Musole, Jeremy Higgins, Marcus Mariota, Tua Tagovailoa, Jaden Delora, and Siobhan Cordero. And again, that's just QBs, but why is that such a special place?
Yeah, I think it has to do with Hawaii is a special place. It has a lot of athletes there. The school itself, St. Louis High School, the Lee brothers, Cal and Ron Lee, running the run and shoot was a very unique offense back. I mean, they started probably I want to say like the late '80s, early '90s, was way ahead of their time. And Vinny Passes, who was a quarterback there um, years ago and became the quarterback's coach, and I think through developing quarterbacks with Vinny Passes and the system that we ran all the way back in the 80s and 90s and into the 2000s, I think it really set guys apart, being able to read defenses, being able to understand how to manipulate defenders, space, leverages, all those sort of things that come with the offense. Those guys were used to running that at such a young age. And by the time they graduated, it was just second nature, So then you put them in the college setting where I think a lot of other high schools probably don't really teach their guys that style of play. It unlocks players' minds to a different way of playing the game, a different way of seeing defenses and how to have answers for it. And so I think those things, coupled with being surrounded by a lot of other great athletes, um, attributed to their success and their growth, and it really set them apart, I think, as they got into other programs.
So fast forwarding to present day, when Coach Neil Matalolo got the head coaching job at San Jose State, at what point did you start getting the indication that you were going to be considered as one of the candidates for the offensive coordinator position?
Yeah, it's kind of funny because it goes back a few years. I think Coach Ken's son, Va'a Neomatalolo, he was a GA for us at the University of Hawaii for a few years. I want to say in 2018, 2019. And my brother was a QC for us. And then he got on staff with Coach Ken Neomatalolo in the 2019 and 2020 season. And I think just kind of um, we played against them, and I think maybe he got a chance to see the offense, and he got to talk to his son a lot about it. And then when he hired my brother, he got to talk to my brother a lot about the offense, and I think it piqued his interest back then. But at the same time, too, though, Coach Ken was a quarterback at the University of Hawaii, and before they started running the triple option with Paul Johnson back in the day, they did some run and shoot stuff. So I think he was used to that, although that was decades ago. He understands it. When we sit in the meeting rooms, just today, he's talking through the streakeries and all these different routes and everything combinations. And it's amazing the things that he knows and how much he remembers. But going back to your original point, it was probably the morning that he was interviewing or a final interview. He just called and said that he feels good about the job, and if given the opportunity, he gets the job. He, would like me to go over there and be his coordinator, and that was exciting, and it's a blessing that came through fruition, and I'm here now in San Jose. So it's been fun. It's been about a month, and it's been everything I had hoped for and more.
So what about this opportunity appealed to you most and ultimately
Mhm.
made you take it?
Yeah, I think the first thing is being able to coach for a guy like Coach Ken Niumatalolo. When you talk about Coach Ken Niumatalolo, you're talking about an icon in the profession, somebody full of integrity, a guy that's won a lot of football games. He's done it the right way, has a lot of connections in the business, and ultimately is just a great person. And so being able to learn from him and work underneath him it was one of those things that was a no-brainer, especially being able to be a coordinator and get back closer to home in Hawaii. And just the guys that he was talking about bringing in and getting on staff, and also some of the guys that he said, hey, I'd like you to hire a couple of your guys. It just felt like it was the right situation to be in, and it was an opportunity that you just can't pass that up. While at Texas State, there's a few other coaches and other programs that were interested in being going to be a coordinator and all that, but I never entertained it. Being at Texas State and be with Coach Kenny was great. I love the opportunity. I learned so much from Coach. I'm talking about GJ Kenny, right, at Texas State, and Mac Leftwich, and there was a lot of similarities and things that I've done that we did last year, and then there's a lot of things that I got to learn and grow as an offensive guy too. And so, um, just the last probably 13, 14 months has been a whirlwind, but it's been great experiences. And ultimately, I think it's going to contribute to the offense here at San Jose State.
Yeah. Speaking of, Coach Kenny and Texas State, you guys turned that program around pretty quickly.
Hmm.
Your first year there, first bowl appearance, and you guys won your bowl game, correct?
Yeah, yeah, we beat Rice in the bowl game. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. All in season one, have a 3,000 yard passing quarterback, this, that, and the other. How hard was it to leave that when you guys really just had that thing going so quickly?
Yeah, it was tough. I mean, when you talk about building a program and having success and being able to leave a mark on a program, work with great people, like I said, Coach Kinney, Mac Leftwich, all the other guys that was on staff was great to be around. The players were great to be around. Was able to recruit guys to come in from other places I've been in, like a guy like Joey Holbert, and then forming those relationships with other guys like Cole Wilson and all the other guys in the room. It's difficult because you put in that 12 months or however long you're there, and ultimately you think you're going to be there for a few years and build it up and not just win a bowl game but win championships. And we moved, my family, my wife and I moved out there, and my son really enjoyed being in Texas and playing Texas football. He's in the 8th grade, and all that stuff. When you're in Hawaii growing up, you hear about Texas football and how crazy it is out there and how much opportunities there are. So it was tough to leave that program and those guys, but ultimately it was one of those things where you're like, and when I talked to Coach Kenny about it, he was like, that makes sense to go to San Jose with Coach Neil Matalolo and be an offensive coordinator, and he was very supportive and excited for me as well.
So when you got hired at San Jose State, it was after early signing day. Is that correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so obviously, I mean, I'm assuming it's been a whirlwind. Then probably a lot of catch up in the recruiting ranks and all this, that, and the
Hmm.
other. So, what has day to day been like since you've been hired?
Yeah, it's been pretty crazy. You get in, we got in. I got in, I think, January 22nd or 23rd, and immediately it was, all right, we got the second signing period, right? It coming in the first Wednesday in February. Okay, where are we going to go recruiting? Guys that we got to keep committed, guys that we got to sign. Also, got to see the guys that we already had signed in the early signing period and build those relationships and talk to those guys and introduce yourself. And then, going through all the logistics of getting hired, going on the road, being compliant, all that sort of stuff. I mean, we didn't even talk about really football with the other coaches until, what is it, 2 weeks after taking the job. And so the other thing too is re-recruiting the guys on the roster, because when you get a new head coach, the players, I think it's like 30 days they have to jump in the portal. So, you got guys that are, hey, are they going to go with the previous staff that's going to Arizona, or other teams going to be coming in to take those guys from our team? So you're meeting with, and Coach Ken Niumatalua had a great plan. He said, hey, the first thing you do when you get in, don't go on the road. I want you to go ahead and just make sure that you talk to the players, the offensive guys that we already have. Make sure that they're staying and just get to know those guys. So, like the first 4 or 5 days, it was just re-recruiting the guys on the roster, just making sure that they were going to stay and they're going to play. And we had some really good players that we didn't want to jump in the portal and go somewhere else. So that was a big thing. And then the second week was really getting on the road and then doing all that sort of stuff. Third week was coming back in and making sure the sign class was good, and then start talking football, getting ready for winter conditioning drills, installs, talking about with the other assistants that got hired. Hey, this is our base offense formations, all that sort of stuff. And so it's been crazy. The good thing is having my brother Billy Ray Stutzman with me, getting hired a week after I got here, really had helped because he knows and he understands the kind of guys that we're looking for in the offense that has certain non-negotiable traits. And so he was able to do a lot of the things that maybe I couldn't do because I was on the road, or I couldn't get to the computer and take a look at all these players, or even building the playbook while I was on the road. So he's been a huge help, as he always is. So, but it's been a whirlwind. And meanwhile, my family's still in Texas, and they're packing up, and that's a whole nother deal. I think they have it harder than I do, right? I get to go to a new place, throw on some film, talk ball, and that comes easy. And they're stuck back there having to move the whole house and go through all that stuff. So I couldn't do it without my wife, my son. My son busts his butt too and helps my wife out a lot. And if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be able to live this dream.
So after your high school days at St. Louis, you go and you play your college ball at Hawaii, and you receiver, product of the run and shoot offense, a pretty good one at that. So obviously there's the run and shoot. Mike Leach had the air raid. Is there a title for your offense? First question. Second question is, I know Coach Niumatalolo has said in previous, interviews or whatever, that he will not do any triple option this year, but will we see any triple option in your offense?
Yeah, first question, we do call it the spread and shred here. And really, it's something that was coined and created back at Emory and Henry back in 2014. It was a mixture of run and shoot pass concepts with RPOs and having more than just, because the run and shoot typically is a 10 personnel deal and they're full spread out. And at Emory and Henry, we did a lot of 11 personnel stuff and some 10 and some 12 personnel, and being a little bit more multiple in your personnel groupings and formations. So here, we have a lot of good tight ends on the roster. Um, and we want to go a lot more tempo than, say, just, traditional run and shoot. We want to have different formations, different personnel groupings, and do some different things and run the football more. So it's not quite the run and shoot, and it's a little different. So we wanted to make sure we had a name for it, and so we called it the spread and shred. And it's been fun, and I think what we did then, and some of the other places, even at Texas State, there's a lot of things that we do there that, or we did there, that we're going to do here, because I think there's some similarities in personnel that we have here especially in the skilled position group. So that'll be something that will probably show up here pretty soon in spring ball and going forward. And then with Coach Ken and the triple option, it's funny you say that because he's done triple option for such a long time, won a ton of games, right? And I just brought it up to him the other day. I said, "Hey, we do some option stuff, and do you think there's a place for it?" He's like, "Yeah, I think there could be a little place for it." So, I'm always trying to pull some things, because the more that you can do that's similar to the core of your offense, but bring a little bit more twist, or a twist here, or some versatility to it, but not change who you are. I think that's the trick and what makes people special and being able to create offenses. And so, if we got somebody who is a master in the triple option, shouldn't we use some principles in that? I think so. So I've been kind of prying and poking and trying to figure some things out. And the RPO game that we've created, it really stems off of the triple option. So there's some similarities I think you've seen already. So don't be surprised if we get into some triple option too.
I want to ask you about, another alumni out of St. Louis, and that's Coach Timmy Chang, head coach at the
Hmm.
University of Hawaii. You guys won't be playing them this year, but I believe you will be the
Right.
following year. But if you can speak to any, the job he's doing over there, he's got a really good quarterback in Shager. Was able to retain him from the portal, and I think he's the returning leading passer in the Mountain West, I believe. But is Coach Chang someone you keep in contact with, and are you looking forward to competing against him in the future?
Yeah, I love Timmy. I've known Timmy since we were at St. Louis together. I think I was in the eighth grade and he was in the sixth, or maybe I was in the ninth grade and he was in the seventh. But I've known Timmy for a long time, and Timmy's he's one of my favorites, man. He's a good friend of mine, and he's done a really good job. I know the job that he took over a couple years ago was really challenging. A lot of guys, left the program, and he's had to do a lot of things to really mend, I think, the culture and some of those things. And I think he's done a great job. I love what he's been doing of incorporating a little bit more run and shoot into the stuff that I think maybe from the first year that he's got there. In the second year, you see a little bit more things. And it's funny because when I left that Emory and Henry school back in, I think, 2015 or 2016 to go back to the University of Hawaii, Timmy came in and became the offensive coordinator. And so it's funny when I watch his film from last year, and I know he's taken over and had a little bit of a bigger role in the offense and calling plays. You see a lot of those little things that maybe we've done in the past. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting in the year to get out there and go play them. And I don't know if we play them there or they come and play them here, but it'll be fun. But like I said, Timmy's done a great job. I hope he gets it turned around to where he gets to go to a bowl game and they get to see that success in year 3.
Last question, Coach. Elevator pitch to a student athlete that's considering San Jose, that you guys are recruiting, maybe an out-of-state player, but why come play for you guys at San Jose State?
I hope it's a tall elevator because there's, we got a lot of great things here in San Jose. I think the first thing is who leads our program. I mean, Ken Niumatalolo is one of the greatest person that you could ever play for. Like I said, full of integrity. He's fun to play for, but he also knows how to grind and win games. And so you're going to be around a leader of men. You're going to learn how to be a better husband, father, whatever it is down the road, community leader and such. You look at the other people that he's hired on staff. I think we got guys from different parts of the country. He's hired our tight ends coach in the NFL for a few years. We got guys that's coached at all different levels. So you're going to get coached up, and you're going to be around good guys that's going to love up their players and also teach them how to and develop them on the field and off the field. When you talk about the university, I mean, we're in the heart of Silicon Valley, so there's so many job opportunities. We have something called Beyond Sparta that goes beyond obviously football and graduation, and it's a 3-prong program that ultimately sets us apart from other places, is being able to get them jobs and internships right here in Silicon Valley. And I mean, we have a couple guys who are done playing that's chasing the dream to play in the NFL. But if they don't make it, they already have standing offers at some of these tech companies. I mean, I drove down the road and you see Adobe and you see Google and you see, Apple and all this stuff. And it's just crazy that you read about it, but it's right down campus, and then you talk about Point Outdoors. It's beautiful outside. The weather is, 70, 80 degrees. It's green all over. You got the beach down the road. You got, all these different places. There's the San Jose Sharks. There's, the 49ers are right down the road. You got, the Giants. You got all these major, you got, what is it? The Golden State Warriors down the road. You got concerts. I mean, there's so many things to do within, what is it, 30-mile radius of this campus. So you're talking about professional, you're talking about personal, you're talking about playing the game, you talk about going to school, you talk about living in a great environment. It's one of those things where, like I said, I think that's the main reason, one of the main reasons why I took this job, was because it was one of those things where there's so many resources, there's great people involved, and you're in a great part of the country, and it's a no-brainer, man. And then, by the way, if you're an offensive guy, we're going to score points and we're going to win football games. We're going to have fun doing it. So
You're going to spread and shed. Coach, I appreciate it so much. Good luck with the rest of this season, and best of luck with this upcoming season.
Thank you for having me, Sonoy. Appreciate it.